Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope everybody is enjoying or has enjoyed their Friday so far. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS speaking, we are looking at a writing or reading today. Correct. We are looking at a reading passage. IELTS reading about abstract art. This is an academic reading passage taken from one of our exams at aehelp.com. For lots more help with the reading section, visit us there. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. They have all of our practice exams, videos, interactive courses, and much, much more. Students, the websites look like this. This is aehelp.com here with the blue background. You can click this big green button that's just above my head there to join the premium version of our IELTS package. We are an IDP affiliate, we're a British Council partner, and we are an IELTS test registration center. I'm a British Council agent. You are in the right place to get ready for your IELTS exam. For the general IELTS, it's the green background. You can click this big red button here that's just above my head to join our premium course. When you do that, students, you can use the code LISTEN49, LISTEN49, to get an extra 10% discount off the premium version. The cost is different in different countries, so check it out. We try to make the course available for everyone according to their local currencies. And of course, everybody, you can get access to these courses via YouTube by clicking on products and checking out through Shopify. We're looking at this reading passage today just to get your mind thinking about this content. The aesthetic merit of abstract art. Now there might be some challenging words here like aesthetic or even the word merit, and of course abstract might be unfamiliar for some of our viewers. So think about what those words could mean. When you are looking at a reading passage, you should always look at the title. Try to figure out what it means. Do your best. If you can't, it's okay. Do not panic, especially in the academic IELTS. It's common to see new information, especially for passage 3. Everybody, this is a members chat class. So to join the chat, you do have to be a channel member. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button on the channel. And of course, everybody's welcome to watch. In about 2 hours, we will have a subscribers chat class that will be for listening. So right now it's reading. Apologies for my slight confusion there at the start. Welcome, Anna. Hi, Fuang. Nice to see our members. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome to our chat moderator, Carolina. Students, we have apps for you to help you study IELTS. Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help are the names of the apps. You can search for these in your app store, and the apps will link to the website. So when you purchase the website or the app, you get both. We have lots of useful blogs for you on the website. Here's one that gives you some tips for reading. I just put this into the chat, this link, so you can check that out when you have a bit of time on the weekends or on the weekend. For Instagram, it's IELTS_AE-help and GIELTS help. We've got lots of followers there, so check out Instagram. Lots going on for you there. And if you have questions for us about IELTS, about English, about applying to school in a foreign country or immigration, you can send us an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. If you're interested to know all of the speaking questions for part 2 and part 3, this year, 2023. Check out IELTS Speaking Success on Amazon, or email IELTSbandup@gmail.com to purchase a PDF of all of those questions and sample answers for speaking part 2 and 3. All right, everybody. So again, a little bit about the schedule. Right now it's reading. It's a members chat class, followed by listening parts 1 and 2 for subscribers. And then tomorrow we will have speaking part 2 for members here on YouTube, and then we'll have speaking part 3 for everyone on the website. We have started live streaming on our website this month. It's a new feature. We're excited about that, and we hope to see all of you in the live class on the website. You can always see when those classes are on the website with our logo here. Otherwise, you see the YouTube play button logo for YouTube live classes. Thank you, Carolina. I'm doing great this morning. I appreciate the comment. Anna, I'm sorry to read you had to be stuck in the bank for 2 hours paying conference fees. That's never too much fun usually. All right, everyone. So let's get into reading. Today's reading class. This is an interactive class, so make sure members to answer questions in the chat. And also we will be doing reading as a group, and we will be answering the questions as a group. So lots of interaction ahead here. Again, the IELTS reading can be challenging, especially the time limit. It's 1 hour, and that feels a little bit short for some IELTS test takers. The reason for that usually is just not having the right strategy. So when you have the right strategy, you should be able to complete the reading section without being an extremely fast reader. So the first tip is always read the title and understand and infer the passage. Infer means to make an educated guess. Okay, so based on what you see, okay, on what you know. All right, so taking a look at today's passage again, the title here is The Aesthetic Merit of Abstract Art. Okay, now a little bit of help here. Aesthetic means beauty, the beautiful. Merit simply means value. Okay, and abstract means, in some way, it means unclear, not tangible, not real looking. Okay, so now that title should make more sense. So when you're looking at this blue painting here on the screen, you notice that, okay, well, it's difficult to figure out what this is exactly. It could be the ocean, it could be the sky, it could be the blue tiles in your kitchen. It's unclear what the artist has actually painted here. What do you think it is? Anna, Fuang, Carolina, what do you think that this blue painting represents? What do you think the artist tried to create or depict with this blue painting? Maya says maybe it's the ocean. It could be. Right. Carolina says maybe it's the ocean. All right. Fuang says it kind of looks like icebergs, or an iceberg, or ice. Anna says it's art without form. Yeah, that's right, Anna. So it's you who gives the artwork its form. And a lot of modern art follows this. Now, keep in mind, students, that for the IELTS exam, it is an important skill to be able to think out of the box, okay? So think outside the box. This is an idiom. the idiom thinking outside the box means to understand or perceive information in many ways, and in ways that might not be obvious. There's a beautiful task or challenge that represents this kind of thinking, and you can do these kinds of puzzles of thinking outside the box. The classic example for this is the 9 dots connected by 4 straight lines. I wonder if anybody's ever tried this, where you basically have 9 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the task is to connect all of these 9 dots with just 4 lines. So 4 lines without lifting your pen off the paper, or in this case, without lifting your finger off the mouse button. So are you able to connect? And a lot of people kind of get stuck trying to connect the lines like this, 3, 4, and then they realize that it's very difficult to connect that last line without lifting the pen. And it's just 4. Here I have 5, right? So this interesting visual analogy of thinking outside the box, the solution, I have a feeling some of you know this, is to actually go beyond the box. So you go up, and then you go down here, you go outside the box, 3, and then 4. And in that way, drawing this kind of giant arrow that moves outside the box, by the way, it has to be 4 straight lines, of course, you can actually link these 9 dots, right? Because the instructions don't say you can't go outside the box. So this is a nice way to think about that, thinking outside the box. So see outside the box. It's a fun exercise. If you've got some nephews or nieces or kids, you can always do this exercise to kind of test their thinking and their ability to interpret instructions and think outside the box. So again, put 9 dots, 3 by 3 rows, and say use 4 straight lines to connect all the dots without lifting the pen or pencil off the paper. So that's thinking outside the box. Why do I say that? I say that because when you're thinking about abstract art can also be emotions. So this blue painting maybe is the ocean, maybe it's an iceberg, or maybe it's a feeling like sadness, okay, or freedom. Okay, a lot of people, when they're on a boat on the ocean, they feel free. So it could be a feeling, it could be an emotion. That's the power of abstract art. For those people that can think this way when they look at a title, look at a picture, they have an advantage. Okay, they definitely have an advantage to understand the context or the content and to answer these questions. All right, everybody. It's a little bit heavy. It's a heavy start for a Friday class. Whoa, what? IELTS is heavy like that? Yeah, I mean, IELTS is, right? So IELTS does have some heavier content, meaning some more advanced content. And if some of you are thinking about TOEFL, you will discover that TOEFL has that even more than IELTS, where some of the passages are really like, oh, is this a college essay? And it is. All right, Alexi, nice to see you in the class. Students, look at the questions after the passage to see if they can help you. Here we have a which paragraph contains the following information. This question is called matching information, or matching information to the paragraphs. And they're good to read because all of this is in the essay somewhere, so it's going to help you to understand what you are about to read. So let's read these, okay? Everybody, this is a reading class, so make sure to read with me. If you are able to listen, that's great. If you are able to read, that's even better. So, the rejection of old rules of art. Okay. Different kinds of aesthetic value. All right, so it means that various types of beauty or various types of merit in beauty. So think about what it can mean in your own words. Okay. All right. Two competing arguments about the value of abstract art. So opposing views about the merit of art that isn't obvious. Okay. Ambiguity itself provides part of the aesthetic experience. Now, ambiguity might be a new word for some of you. It means uncertainty. Okay. When you're doing reading at home, definitely stop and check the meaning of new words. So pick up vocabulary in the class. I'm here to help you. I'm like the living dictionary. So uncertainty itself provides part of the aesthetic experience. All right, the mysterious nature of abstract art and aesthetic value is up to the viewer. So it's like identifying beauty. Depends on the person looking at the art. Okay, now we have some multiple choice. Multiple choice often creates challenges for people. One of the reasons multiple choice can be challenging for people is because they spend a lot of time looking at the multiple choice. And Alexi, you passed IELTS, you are in university, you are a channel moderator, and you are a student who probably has seen a few multiple choice questions in the last couple of months since the start of your semester. I'm not sure if you're doing summer school and longer than that. And you have probably realized that staring at the questions is not really, or sorry, the choices, looking at these choices is not really helpful when you're doing a multiple choice test, especially not in university. Okay. Multiple choice exams in university have more than one correct answer often. So if you're looking at the choices, it's really easy to make a mistake. So don't look at the choices, just look at the question. Okay, that's a very important tip for multiple choice. For multiple choice, you still need to think about the answer from your head before you look at the choices. There are a lot of strategies that people will tell you, like look for keywords or figure out which are the wrong answers and you'll find the one correct answer. And they're okay. Those strategies are okay, but they're not the best first step. Okay, everybody? So just again, a very important tip here for all you IELTS test takers and university students. Okay, so for multiple choice questions, the most important first step is to think about the answer on your own without looking at the choices. Okay? If you look at the choices, there's actually a chance that you could have gotten that answer right, but now you get it wrong because the choices are confusing you and making you second guess. Okay? The danger of looking at the options first is you can get confused and manipulated, especially for university. Manipulated to choose incorrectly. Okay. Alexi says, I will have a university test soon and I'm wishing that I just had to pass IELTS instead. Yes, the goal of IELTS is to prepare you for those tests as well. So again, make sure to think about the answer for multiple choice from your head, and then if you're having a little bit of difficulty and you need some extra strategy, then look at the options, try deduction, figuring out which ones are wrong, looking for keywords, and so forth. All right, so there are many other options there for you at that time. Arwinder, good luck on your test tomorrow. That crossed finger is for you. Wishing you luck. I hope it goes well. Arwinder, after you do your exam, come back tomorrow and share your experience with us. We would love to know. Students and myself, we're always curious how our viewers do in those exams, what kind of challenges they have. So Arwinder, good luck and definitely come back and share your experience with us. Okay, so we've got these multiple choice. So we're just looking at the questions. The questions are in the passage somewhere, or the information for the questions. So we take a look at those and we read them. Read these with me. What makes abstract art different from classic art? Okay, well, one, you can usually tell right away what it is supposed to be. The other one, I have no idea. At first, I have to figure that out, right? So I know right away a little bit of an answer for that in my head. A common critique of abstract art is that it lacks, I would say, skill. Like some people think abstract art is not skillful art. It's just throwing paint on the canvas or on the paper or scribbling, right? So again, it's in my head. I'm not looking at the choices. Why is it important to note that aesthetic merit not be solely reserved for the sublime? Okay. While realist works of art explicitly show their meanings, abstract works of art do what? Okay. True, false, not given. This question's always a challenging one, and the good news is you don't need to look at this before the passage because we have no idea what is true, what is false, what is not given, so there's no point in reading these. We could be just reading unnecessary and confusing information, so nothing to do there. All right, so we've looked at the questions. This happens very quickly, students. In the real exam, you have 20 minutes. So you should only spend about 1 or 2 minutes maximum looking at the questions before the passage. And then you should read the passage in about 8 to 10 minutes. Now, one nice feature of our course on our website is that we have reading audio for all of our passages that help you to improve your reading, to listen to the British accent, to improve your cadence and intonation for reading, your pronunciation. So lots of value there. Do keep in mind that the real IELTS exam does not play audio for the reading. You have to read it. There's no audio, okay? But on the websites for learning, it's really, really good. So let's listen and read with this British, I think it's a gentleman reading this one, but we'll soon hear. So again, this is our premium IELTS course. You can join it by clicking the big red button. We are leaders when it comes to online IELTS education and these courses, so definitely check it out. Go into your My Student account. In your My Student account, go to your audio CDs. In audio CDs, this is our 4th exam. So we go to CD 4, and this is going to be track number 6 if all is true, as it is the 2nd reading passage.
Why do some people have...
Or sorry, maybe 7.
The aesthetic merit of...
That's the one. All right. So here we go, everybody. We're going to do the reading. Read with this gentleman. And we should be good to go here, okay? Just focus on your reading and focus on visualizing. Try to see what this person's talking about when they talk about art. Try to include yourself. Imagine that you're in an art gallery or in a museum and you're looking at some abstract art while this person's talking, okay? So put yourself into the situation, okay? All right, here we go.
The aesthetic merit of abstract art. Abstract art is notorious for its apparent lack of artistic skill, meaning and value. While its harshest critics believe that abstract art is not art at all, many art connoisseurs feel that abstract art is an aesthetically pleasing expression of the human condition. This article will discuss both sides of the issue and present arguments for and against the aesthetic merit of abstract art. Abstract art, by definition, does not follow the rules of reality. Until the late 19th century, artists had, more or less, stuck to the notion of art as representation of reality. Artists such as Gainsborough or Rembrandt follow the rules of reality with regards to light, perspective, physics and logic. Abstract artists like Jackson Pollock rejected these supposed rules of painting. Instead, Pollock made his own rules, or rejected rules entirely. The aesthetic value of works such as Pollock's, that is to say the ability for works like his to elicit pleasure when viewed, is the point at stake in this discussion. On the one hand, some critics feel that abstract art is facile, silly and indulgent. It is, on their account, a perfect example of the kind of art snobbery that the outside world finds so distasteful. Looking at a canvas covered in blue paint, We are meant to see something, perhaps jealousy, perhaps the death of human emotion, perhaps the bleakness of the human condition, but for many people they merely see a blue rectangle. It is not mere lack of imagination, however, that gives viewers the impression that the artwork lacks aesthetic merit. Many critics who have a keen eye for good art feel that many works of abstract art lack aesthetic merit. A common argument against these artworks is that they lack skill. Artworks by Rembrandt and Gainsborough are unambiguously works of profound skill. These artists committed their lifetimes to their craft, and it shows in the virtuosity of their works. It is important to note, however, that aesthetic merit must not be solely reserved for the sublime. In comparing Rembrandt to an abstract artist such as Pollock, one must realize that there are many kinds of aesthetic merit. For example, there is the aesthetic merit in a sunset, in a beautiful sculpture, in a symphony, or even in a well-composed meal. So if aesthetic merit is represented in manifold ways, is it possible that abstract art satisfies at least one of those criteria? Many critics say yes. The value of abstract art lies, for some critics, in its mystery. Whereas realist artworks simply show and tell their meaning, the meaning of abstract works is hidden behind a veil of ambiguity. Perhaps the artist has an intended meaning, perhaps the artist does not. Additionally, the meaning for one person may be different than the meaning for another person. The key is that the painting does have meaning, but is meaning the same as aesthetic merit? Arguably not. Words have meanings, for example, but lack aesthetic merit. However, one might say for a painting or other artwork to have meaning is precisely for it to have aesthetic merit. Perhaps the real answer to the debate is that whether an object has aesthetic merit or not is up to the viewer. An object can have aesthetic merit for one person but lack it for another person. So in this sense, abstract art is neither meritorious nor the opposite. Instead, it is whatever the viewer thinks it is. On this account, if a person finds an abstract work of art aesthetically pleasing, then that artwork is aesthetically pleasing for him or her. If not, then it is not. This answer, however, will not satisfy some readers, who desire a clear answer to the debate in question. For such readers, it is important to point out that ambiguity is inherent in all art. In fact, ambiguity is part of the aesthetic experience itself. So the fact that there is no clear answer forthcoming to the aesthetic merit of abstract art is not surprising. It is the nature of art to lack crystal clarity in order to invite interpretation and meditation, which are critical parts of the very aesthetic experience in question.
All right.
This recording is copyrighted by...
There you have it. The aesthetic merit of abstract art. Okay. So students, let's go through this text one more time so that we can understand it better. But before we do that, thank you, Fuang. Let's take out some of the main points. So let's see how well you understood this, okay? And now when you're doing this exercise at home, the key is to have structure. So what did the introduction explain to the person? Okay, so introduction and let's say body one. What were the main points there? Okay, so what do you remember from the introduction? What does it introduce to the viewer or the reader? And what does it explain? What do you remember? As much as you can. If it's just one word, give me that one word. If you remember every single word, give me every single word. So let's see what you remember. Practicing this kind of bullet summary of the reading is a really good exercise to train your brain to organize and manage information that you're reading. Okay? Okay, Anahita says that the introduction and kind of body one introduces the two opposing ideas about abstract art. Two opposing views or opinions regarding abstract art. Yes, okay. And what are those? Okay. Yeah, so Fuang says it kind of introduces why some people think abstract art is valuable, why some people think it's useless. Okay, so abstract art is not really art. It has no real value versus it has value and could be considered art. Yeah, Carolina says that they basically say it lacks meaning. Okay, how about the middle? So what information does the middle of this passage give us? So we're looking at like body paragraphs 3, 4, maybe 5. Okay. What kind of content does that give us? Okay, what does the writer say in the middle of this, or what does the writer do in the middle of this essay? It's a really good exercise to do this, and then go back and check and see if you remember correctly, if the structure is correct, or if you're jumping around. So the middle of this passage, Maya says it talks about following rules of some artists. Not really, Maya. So it does say some information about following artistic rules. Yes, so we'll put that. Following rules in art. Okay, it's not about the rules of artists, it's just following some kind of rules in art. Okay, Fuang says that abstract art does not follow traditional methods. Yeah, and Fuang, I think that's a little bit more towards the middle, or sorry, more towards the beginning of the passage, that there's no rules to follow. Okay. There's a simpler answer to this. There's a comparison that's made in those middle paragraphs. A comparison is made between, yes, and Elizabeth, you're correct. It says something about the meaning. So understanding the meaning of art, yes. Carolina says something about the liberty of the artists, yes, the meaning of art, the freedom of artists, sure. Okay. At the kind of, I think it's the third paragraph, if I'm not mistaken, it gives us the comparison between a classic art and abstract art, using examples from famous artists. Okay, everybody remembers those names like Gainsborough and Rembrandt and Pollock, those artists from different parts of the world. So everybody remembers those. There's a comparison between classic art and abstract art. Now, you should have understood this part here. If you didn't, it's definitely time to reread. Okay? So comparison between those. All right, how about the end? The end of the passage, the last body paragraph and conclusion. What does the writer focus on in those last couple of paragraphs? So what is the main goal, or what is the main point of the artist in this case? Or so artist, well, yes, I guess artist. The author is a type of artist as well. So what is the main point? Elizabeth says it's about ambiguity. Not really, Elizabeth, or you need to give me a little bit more information. So what do you mean ambiguity, right? Okay. Very good, Maya. Yeah, Maya's got it. Good. Maya, you get a thumbs up. So In the end, the author says that beauty, or we could also call that aesthetic merit, is probably best described as depending on the viewer. Okay, so it is up to each person to decide whether art has beauty and value or not. Okay, so that's kind of the end goal of this author or message that they give to the reader. All right, so again, you don't need to understand every word in the passage to get a good band score, but you should understand the main points of the passage in terms of introduction, middle, conclusion. Okay, so when you're at home and you're practicing for your IELTS exam, a really good exercise is to read the passage, take a piece of paper, okay, and then write down beginning, middle, and end. Okay, so this is practice at home. Okay, first read the passage, then take a piece of paper and label beginning, middle, end. For each, in 1 or 2 sentences, write down the main idea. It will always be there, okay? And then the third one is, of course, check. Check to see if you're accurate. With a friend, with a teacher, or with our new overlord, ChatGPT. Okay, so what you can actually do these days, which is kind of cool, is you can open up ChatGPT and you could say, take the content of this passage and give a summary of the beginning, middle, and end. Let's test that theory. How about that? Let's do something fun, right? A little bit something different. Let's test that theory. Let's ask our overlord ChatGPT what ChatGPT thinks is the beginning, middle, and end of this. Now, this is actually the premium version that I have here of ChatGPT. So I wonder if it should be able to take, I'm not sure if the free version can take a full length text, but this one should be able to. So let's try it. I'm telling you this, but honestly, I've never tried it. So let's see. Okay. A little bit something different for us right now. Okay. So summarize the beginning, middle, and end of this essay into 1 to 2 sentences. All right. Let's see what ChatGPT says. All right. Here we go. This is what it said to us. I can break this into 3 here. Okay, so here we go. Let's see how well we did. Okay. All right. Here's our example. All right, so ChatGPT says the essay begins by framing the debate around the aesthetic merit of abstract art, contrasting its traditional critics with those who find value in it. Hey, that's pretty good. That sounds a lot like what we said, right? We also said that. We said two opposing views or opinions regarding abstract art. Abstract art is not really art. It has no value versus value that could be considered. That is very, very close to what ChatGPT is saying. It says it begins by framing the debate, right? The middle sections delve into the varying perspectives, examining arguments that claim abstract art lacks skill and aesthetic merit, while also presenting counter-arguments that emphasize its unique forms and aesthetic merit. Okay. I'd say we're pretty good on that one too. I think that we said that it examines it, looking at classical art and the possibilities. And then let's see what it concludes by. Let me make this a little bit bigger. This might be a little bit small. Okay. So it says the essay concludes by suggesting that aesthetic merit is subjective and open to interpretation, but also acknowledges that this lack of definitive answer in itself is a characteristic of the artistic experience. Very nice. That is a great summary. So I have to say, definitely our master and commander, ChatGPT, has done a pretty good job of summarizing this passage into these sentences. So if you've asked ChatGPT correctly, and your answers are very different from what ChatGPT says, that means that something is wrong or not the way it should be in your reading. Okay? Everybody following me there? So this is a good exercise to do at home, okay? Try it for fun when you're looking at these passages. And of course, this is, it's good that to have lots of passages for this and being able to highlight the parts and copying it, okay? So read the passage, take a piece of paper, no shortcuts, students. So don't ask ChatGPT first and then be like, oh yeah, no, that's what I thought too. We do that, right? But don't do it that way. All right. So first you do it. You read it. You summarize as the beginning, middle, and end, and then check in with our general ChatGPT. Okay. Yes, Mal, you can definitely find this passage on the website. It is in the second exam book. It's exam 4, and it is the third passage, I believe. Yes, Carolina, exactly. ChatGPT is a very smart personal assistant. Okay. All right. Anahita is saying, I read many sentences twice. Is there a way to tackle this issue? Yes, Anahita, absolutely. You need to train your brain to remember what you read, and part of that is visualization, right? You need to see what you're reading. Okay, students, so keep that exercise in mind. It's a very useful one. We will read this passage together and then answer the questions. So to volunteer for reading, everybody, we will use our website. So go to aehelp.com. Okay. When you're logged in to aehelp.com, again, you need to click those big red buttons to join the premium version. For the free version, click the green button and then log in and click on Student Partner Speaking. We use this function in live classes all the time, but you should also use this when you're practicing at home to talk to other students, okay? Carolina put the instructions in the chat. So go there, members, and once you're in here, find me. You're going to find me in here as master. To reload this page for some reason. Interesting. Something's amiss. Let me just try to fix that real quick on my end. Anyway, hopefully we can figure it out. All right. Just a little bit of back-end controls there. Yeah, there we go. Fixed it. Okay, so now you see your peers and fellow students. Servers, students. We use Amazon servers, by the way, and they're amazing, but still not perfect, right? As we build that super web. All right, so we've got Ahmed Turk, who's a premium student here. Rihan, Anna. Anna is also not just a premium student, but a channel member. Let's start with Anna today. Anna, are you ready to read? Yes, without the E.
Hello.
Hi, Anna.
Hello, Adrian. I'm a premium student, but in your system I don't see the same premium. I'm premium student and a member together.
I see premium student on my side when I see you there. It says Anna dash premium student.
Yeah, now, yeah. Yes, I see. But in a few seconds before it wasn't mentioned. Yeah, I see right now.
The internet is a magical place, Anna.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. It's like the real world. We made it in our own image. All right.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think people Anna tend to think that computers they kind of always function the way they're supposed to, but that's completely inaccurate. They often don't function the way that we think. Anyway, Anna, let's do some reading. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Just a second, I will mute the YouTube. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up the first paragraph, and again, we're reading the aesthetic merit of abstract art. So when you see the first paragraph come up, just start reading, and I'm going to get you to read A and B, okay?
All right, yes. Abstract art is notorious for its apparent lack of artistic skill, meaning, and value. While its harshest critics believe that abstract art is not art at all, many art connoisseurs feel that abstract art is an our aesthetically pleasing expression of the human condition. This article will discuss both sides of the issue and present argument for and against the aesthetic merit of abstract art. Abstract art, by definition, doesn't follow the rule of reality. Until the late 19th century, artists had more or less stuck to the notion of art as a representation of reality. Artists such as Gainsborough or Rembrandt followed the rules of reality with regards to light, perspective, physics, and logic. Abstract artists like Jackson Pollock rejected these supposed rules of painting. Instead, Pollock made his own rules or rejected rules entirely. The aesthetic value of work such as Pollock's, that is to say, the ability for works like his to elicit pleasure when viewed, is the point at stake. At stake, it's this discussion.
Okay, great. All right, some tricky vocabulary there, right, Anna?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, can you repeat after me? Notorious.
Notorious.
What does that mean, Anna? Notorious.
Um, like direct notion or something like which mention about how to understand how to connect some link, some parts probably or something.
Good try. But no, it means famous in a negative way.
Yeah. All right.
Okay? So just repeat after me. Notorious. Famous in a
Notorious.
negative way.
Notorious. Famous in a negative way. Okay,
All
well
right.
done.
But it's good that you tried. Yeah, notorious is so if a person did something terrible and they become famous, then we say they are notorious. So they're famous for a bad act or action. So here, abstract art is famous in a bad way because people think that it's just garbage and it's a waste of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Repeat after me. Harshest.
Harshest.
What does that mean?
It's a very strong critique.
Yes, harsh means difficult and strong together, right?
Yeah.
Can you give me another situation where we say or use the word harsh?
Um, harsh, harsh sound or harsh words, probably about morality, harsh morality or some. I don't
Okay,
know.
so I'm showing you some really important vocabulary building and strategy while you're doing your reading here. One common way that we use the word harsh is harsh weather. So you can say, Anna, for instance, when I was climbing the mountain, there was harsh weather. It was a blizzard. I almost
Mm-hmm.
died. Try that.
Mm-hmm. Harsh weather. I'm also a
When I
wizard
climbed the
when I'm fine.
mountain, there was harsh weather. I almost died.
Harsh weather.
Try it.
All
Repeat the
right.
sentence.
It's almost was the harshest weather while climbing. I also was blind.
I almost
So
died.
died.
Right? So it's not by accident that I'm giving you this information. When you learn new vocabulary, you always want to make it personal. So make it about you, because the brain learns a lot more effectively when the example includes you. And the example should always be a unique idea. So here, imagining yourself climbing a mountain in a harsh snowstorm and almost perishing, almost dying from that adventure, that will help you to remember and be able to use the word harsh in everyday conversation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, pick one more word, Anna, from these first two paragraphs.
Unknown words. What does it mean? Connoisseurs fields. Many arts
Yeah, I'm
connoisseurs
going to help
fields.
you. So that word comes from French,
Mm-hmm.
and the word is connoisseurs.
Connoisseurs.
Connoisseurs. Now, in French, I'm
Connoisseurs.
sure it's pronounced a little bit differently, but connoisseurs.
Connoisseurs.
Okay, a connoisseur is a critic. It's another way to say a critic. So a person who is usually an expert and makes judgment. So a food connoisseur, or often we say a wine connoisseur. While in France, I met a famous wine connoisseur who sold me a $2,000 bottle of Mouton Rothschild. Try something similar, Anna.
Uh,
So while in France, I met a wine connoisseur who sold me a $2,000 bottle of wine.
could you repeat this, please? It's too many words.
Yes. While I was in France,
When I was in France, I met a connoisseur
who sold me an
who sold,
expensive bottle of
who
wine.
sold me an expensive bottle of wine.
Okay, so wine connoisseur would be a sommelier, would be a wine expert, somebody who judges wine, the quality of wine. Okay. There are art connoisseurs, there are movie connoisseurs. So connoisseur is simply another fancy way to say critic, and it's coming from French. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're reading, Anna, definitely at home, take the time to go over these words and then learn them. And then guess what? After you do it, you have to read again. Okay. So it's a critic, and then you'll learn those words. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I pronounce. Thank you so much for giving me a chance. Thank you. The system is working today perfectly. Yeah, in this time.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. Okay, Anna,
Yeah.
have a great rest of the day. Stay in there for
Okay.
the
Thank you.
questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
All right. That was Anna. Welcome, Burke, to our group of members. It's great to have you. All right. Let's take somebody else. Maya, a premium student and a channel member. Yes, you can. Are you ready, Maya? We've got lots of premium students and members in here today. It's lovely to see. Let's take Maya. Maya, if you're there, chime in. And a big hello back to you, Maya. All those capital letters, you're yelling it at me. Thanks, Burke. I appreciate that. That's so nice. Hi, Maya. Hello, Maya.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yep, now I can. It sounded like
Okay.
you just ran at the microphone. Okay, I can hear you, Maya.
Okay,
How are
I'm
you
sorry.
doing today? That's okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing quite well. Yeah, I'm cheery this
You
early
look a
morning.
bit sleepy today.
Really? I think maybe it's because I'm smiling a lot and it's close. I'm not. I'm actually quite. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Actually, I would say. Interesting. My watch said that too. My watch said I had bad sleep, but I feel good, so I don't know. I disagree with the watch in the world, I guess. Like abstract art, energy is subjective. All right. Okay, so Maya, I'll get you to read paragraphs C and D for me, please, when you're ready. You should see it on the screen.
Okay. On one hand, some critics feel that abstract art is facile, silly, and indulgent. It is, on their account, a perfect example of the kind of art snobbery that the outside world finds so distasteful. Looking at a canvas covered in blue paint, we are meant to see something, perhaps a jealousy, perhaps the depth of a human emotion, perhaps the blackness of the human condition. But for many people, they merely see a blue rectangle. It is not mere lack of imagination, however, that gives viewer the impression that the artwork lacks aesthetic merit. Many critics who have a keen eye for good art feel that many works of abstract art lack aesthetic merit. A common argument against these artworks is that they lack skill. Artworks by Rembrandt and Gainsborough are unambiguously works of profound skills. These artists committed their lifetimes to their craft, and it shows in the virtuosity of their works. It is important to note, however, that aesthetic merit must not be solely reserved for the sublime. In comparing Rembrandt to an abstract artist such as Pollock, one must realize there are many kinds of aesthetic merit. For example, there is the aesthetic merit in a sunset, in a beautiful sculpture, in a symphony, or even in a well-composed meal. So, if aesthetic merit is represented in manifold ways, is it possible that abstract art satisfies at least one of those criteria? Many critics say yes.
All right, nice reading. That was good. You read that quite smoothly and quickly. Now, any words that are new for you here or challenging?
Yes, what does it mean in profound? I forget. It was some
Profound.
profound skills, yeah.
Let me just see where you are looking right now.
It's under the D,
Under
capital
D.
T.
Okay. Profound. Profound means amazing, or how should I say this?
Okay.
So whenever you think about the prefix pro,
Impressive.
yes, exactly. So when you think about the word pro, it's going to be usually positive, like professional, right? Proactive. So moving in the positive direction. So if you think of the word pro together with the word found, so positively discovered, right? You can think about it that way.
Yes.
Notice how I use the prefix and the root to figure out the word, right? So pro, professional, proactive, productive, and then found, right? So it must be some kind of a positive finding. And indeed, it means like extreme or obvious, okay? All right. So I stopped looking for it.
Can another word? Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, just give me a second. There it is. Okay, so
It's
profound.
at the beginning.
Just give me a second.
So slowly.
Okay. What word are you looking at?
It's started with a slowly, slow, SOLO.
Yeah, solely. Do you know the word solo?
Yes.
Okay, solely is a different form of the word solo. So solo, what does that mean?
One person who performed the action.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're looking at the suffix to figure out this word. So here, if you think of the word solo, right? And this is how you can figure out words. If you think, this word I think is important to answer a question or to understand this sentence, then immediately think, okay, well, what other words do I know that sound or seem similar? And then you can think of soul, solo, and eventually you'll realize not be solely reserved for the sublime. So what does this sentence mean? Always look at the context. Can you read it from the start? It is important.
It is important to note, however, that aesthetic merit must not be solely reserved for the sublime.
Okay. What does that
Solely
mean?
reserved.
What does that sentence mean? Can you
It
say
means
that in your own
only?
words? Yeah. So what does it mean? It is important to note, however, that aesthetic merit must not only be reserved for the sublime. What is the author saying here?
What the meaning of sublime?
Sublime is something that is uniquely beautiful. So when you're watching like the sunset, and it's just beautiful over the ocean, over the mountains, and it looks absolutely beautiful, we would call that sublime. Excuse me, we'd call that sublime. So sunset over mountains and ocean, just where you almost start to just cry because it's so beautiful, that would be called sublime. Okay? So it is important to note, however, that aesthetic merit must not be solely reserved for the sublime. What is that telling you?
So aesthetic merit.
Aesthetic merit is
Not
value of
not
beauty.
only
Mm-hmm.
not only beauty, and also have some meanings.
Not quite. So
No.
here, and this is, so when you're working in a classroom, when you're working with partners, this is the kind of exercise that you want to do to really build your understanding of English intrinsically. So meaning without trying to translate from another language. So in this case, it's basically telling you, the author's saying that we shouldn't just consider the obvious, extremely beautiful situations as the only version of beauty. So when you think about the word beautiful, it shouldn't just be connected with like an amazing sunset where everybody goes, ooh, that's so beautiful. But we should be able to find beauty in not so obvious situations. Are you following me? What it's
Yes,
saying
I
here?
am.
Yeah. So that's what the author is telling you here, by not be solely reserved for the sublime. So not only for the obviously extremely beautiful. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Now, Maya, you might be thinking, whoa, Adrian, that's crazy. IELTS wants me to understand English at this level to get a band 7? No, it does
Yes.
not. Okay. You don't have to understand English at this level to get a band 7. To get a band 9?
So I'm always trying to translate these words.
Maybe. You have to keep in mind that not all English will translate, and especially not all English will translate accurately. So when you're an intermediate to advanced level user of English, you have to start training yourself to understanding English intrinsically. And not only young children can do that, adults can do that too with proper training. Okay, Maya?
Okay.
All right. And one step towards that is use English to understand English. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Okay, so just to make it clear for everybody what I said there, what that means is when you see a word like solely and you're intermediate level in English, you shouldn't be rushing to a dictionary and translating that word into your own language. What you should be doing is you should be trying to figure out what it means from the context, and if you can't find it there, use a thesaurus. So find other synonyms or English words that are close to it, okay, like only, okay?
Okay.
Make sense, Maya?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Do you use a dictionary, Maya, when you're studying?
Of course I'm using, but
Don't
I'm
use it.
forgetting them.
Don't use it.
No?
That's why. Yeah. No. So seriously, anybody who is like the level of Maya, you shouldn't be using a dictionary. You should almost throw out your dictionary, or delete it from your computer. It should be very, very, very rare situations where you actually use a dictionary Maya at your level. You should be using a thesaurus first of all, and using interpretation to learn more English. Using a dictionary for you at this level is very, very ineffective. Okay? Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right? It's a very important tip.
Okay.
I know it sounds more challenging, but believe me, as long as you keep doing it the right way, it will get easier and faster than using a dictionary, and way better results. Okay?
Math sounds easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Maya.
Okay, bye, Eugene. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day.
Yeah, with language students, the concept of the easy way is not necessarily the right way is very, very true. Okay, with language, you have to often choose the more challenging way, but ultimately you will get a much better result. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Burke. So dictionaries are when you're a beginner to intermediate in a language. Once you're intermediate level in a language and you're building towards upper intermediate advanced, you shouldn't use a dictionary. You should use a thesaurus, and you should use English. You should use the language that you're learning to define it. Okay? All right. Good job, Maya. All right, let's take another student. Fuang's a channel member here. Let's give Fuang a chance. Yes, are you ready, Fuang? Okay, bear with me, students. We're going to move along here at a nice, steady speed. Yes, once you're intermediate in a language, you have to realize that a lot of that language is culturally bound. It's culturally tied, and it becomes extremely difficult to translate. That's why people find it frustrating trying to translate when they're an intermediate level in a language. Okay. Hi, Fuang.
Hi, sir.
How are you Are you giggling, Fuang?
Sorry, sir.
It sounded like you're giggling, you're chuckling, like you're like hee 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 hee. That's cute. I just thought it was funny. No, I know why. It's because you're happy that it's working, right? The system. I'm guessing.
To be honest, I'm drinking milk tea right now, sir.
Ah, okay. I see. So you've got some happy juice. Okay. Fuang, can you read some paragraphs for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead and read E, F, and G.
Okay, sir. The value of abstract art lies, for some British, in its mystery, whereas as realist artwork simply show and tell the meaning. The meaning of abstract work is hidden behind a veil of ambiguities. Perhaps the artist had an intended meaning, perhaps the artist did not. Additionally, the meaning for one person may be different than the meaning for another person. The key is that the painting does have meaning, but is meaning the same as aesthetic merit? Absolutely not. Words have meaning, for example, but lack aesthetic merit. However, one might say for a painting or other artwork to have meanings is precisely for it to have aesthetic merit. Perhaps the real answer to the debate is that whether an object has aesthetic merit or not is up to the viewer. An object can have aesthetic merit for one person, but lack it for another person. So, in this sense, abstract art is neither meritorious nor the opposite. Instead, it is whatever the viewer thinks it is. On this account, if a person finds an abstract work of art aesthetically pleasing, then that artwork is aesthetically pleasing for him or her. If not, then it is not. This answer, however, will not satisfy some reader who desire a clear answer to the debate in wages. For such reader, it is important to point out that ambiguity is inherent in all art. In fact, ambiguity is part of the aesthetic experience itself, so the fact that there is no clear answer forthcoming to the aesthetic merit of abstract art is not surprising. It's in the nature of art to lack crystal clarity in order to invite interpretation and meditation, which are critical part of the very aesthetic experience in Wetchings.
Okay, good job, Fuang. Nice reading. So, Fuang, absolutely your reading is fast enough to do the IELTS in the 20 minutes. Can you read this very last sentence one more time? So the fact that there is no.
Mm, the fact.
It's a
I
long
see.
sentence, yeah.
Okay, sir. Um, So the fact that there is no clear answer forthcoming to the aesthetic merit of abstract art is not surprising. It's in the nature of art to lack crystal clarity in order to invite interpretation and meditation, which are critical part of the very aesthetic experience in Wetchings.
Okay. What does that mean in your own words? Can you tell me what that last sentence is, Fuang?
Mm, well, I think the author make questions that we mm,
Simplify it. Just use simple words, simple sentences.
uh, we can't guess the meaning of abstract art. I think, sir.
So trying to guess the meaning of abstract art is part of what?
Uh, aesthetic experience.
Exactly, Fuang. Exactly. You get a huge thumbs up. Yeah, it's part of that experience of feeling beauty or imagining that we are looking at a beautiful object or situation. Fuang, what is a very common situation for people where we do that, where we look and we think, it could be this, it could be that. I think it's beautiful. I think it looks amazing. I think we all do this, especially as children. Let me give you a hint. We look up at the sky and we look at the what? What's in the sky?
The sun and the cloud.
That's right. You ever look at the clouds and think, hey, it looks like a rabbit or it looks like a dragon?
Ah, I think visualization, sir.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, Fuang, is that's what the author's saying, right? When you and your friend are looking at the clouds and you're thinking, it could be a rabbit or it could be a dragon or it's a rabbit on the back of a turtle, then that situation itself is part of the experience of beauty. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's kind of interesting, right? It's an interesting situation. Maybe only for me, right, Fuang? Anyway, but when you're looking in that, what are you drinking? A bubble tea or some kind of a milk?
Um, it's a kind of matcha Japanese tea, sir.
It's a
It's
matcha
green.
Japanese tea. See, that's
Green
full.
tea. Green
Yeah,
tea.
so that's full of the aesthetic experience, right? Because that whole tea culture that comes from Japan has a lot of exactly what we're talking about. So sometimes, people have difficulty with IELTS in these reading passages and they think, I don't care about art or I don't care about this kind of a topic and it's really challenging and difficult to understand. But if you connect yourself, so you imagine that you're looking at clouds, or if you are at a coffee shop and you order a coffee or a tea and they do like the coffee art. Have you ever seen that where they do like a little leaf or like a little heart in your coffee cup with foam?
Yes, sir. I don't remember the tea name, but I have a chain to ring. It's a Starbucks, sir.
Yeah, so that's aesthetic art in some way, and abstract art. So you're actually, people think it's so far away, but a lot of this information is closer than we think. And that tea that you're holding in your hands actually represents some of what this passage is talking about. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you enjoy that tea, Fuang, and hang in there for the questions, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Bye, Fuang.
Have a good day, sir.
You too. Bye. All right. So always be interested, everyone, in what you're reading, because a lot of the information that the IELTS presents to you is a lot closer than you think. Okay. All right. I'll get somebody to help me with some of these questions. Let's check in with Anushka. See if Anushka is there. Anushka, can you help me with some questions? Let's see if Anushka is willing to lend us a hand to answer some questions today. Right? Abstract art and sublime and beauty is all around us. We just have to open our eyes. I'll open my tired eyes and see the world. And it can be as close as the cup of tea or coffee that we're drinking. All right, I'm not sure if Anushka's still here or not, so we'll move along. Mujadi Duel wants to practice. Can you help me with some questions? Anushka, I see that you joined or that you replied, so I will circle back to you. Okay, we've got a little bit of time. Should be able to. Mujadi Duel, if you are there, let me know, and then we can connect and answer some questions here. Stay on top of it, students. Focus. The lesson slows for no man or woman. All right. No, Anushka's like, how about me? All right, Anushka, let's try it. Anushka, sounds like you picked up, but I can't hear you, and I can see that you're saying you're not sure about your connection. That could definitely be an issue if you don't have a fast connection and you're using YouTube and a chat interface on another website. That could definitely be an issue. So, Anushka, check that out. See what's going on. You might need a VPN. Manikanta, let's check in with Manikanta here. Are you ready? All right, I think Mujadi Duel has just returned to their station as well. Manikanta, if you're there, let me know. And then we'll answer some questions. Otherwise, I'll be stuck answering them alone. All right. Manikanta, if you're there, let me know. We've got lots of volunteers now. Nice. Burke and Kave. Okay. Hi, Manikanta. Can you hear me? Are you there? I can't hear you. There's a chance we might have overloaded the servers too. I'll check that in a minute, but let me try somebody else. Let me try Kave, and then if nobody works, I'll just do a quick refresh on my end here. So Kave, are you ready? I think when lots of people are trying to connect with the same person, aka me here, it might be causing an issue in the system, but we'll see. Yeah, let me just refresh. Oh, no, I can hear you. Kave, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Kave. How are you?
I'm good. While you read through these passages, I remind my mind Salvador Dali, beautiful masterpiece work is The Persistence of Memory, I think. It's really beautiful. It is actually haunting my mind.
Yeah, Salvador Dali is definitely a master of abstract art, and his art almost lies somewhere. It lies somewhere between the abstract and classic forms, because you can kind of see, like, of course, the melting clocks is a very very famous piece. So he's great, and I like how you said that, Kaveh. I like how you said, well, you know, it's good to think about, you know, when you're reading a passage, who are some of the very recognized abstract artists, and Dolly comes to mind for sure. The other person who's extremely famous, arguably maybe the most famous of abstract artists, is Picasso, right? Pablo Picasso. Picasso is extremely famous. So I was thinking that. I was thinking, how many of our viewers are, you know, coming up with some of these very famous artists that are into the more modern abstract arts, like Picasso, right? Good, Kaveh. So I'm not the only one out there. Good. It's good to know. All right. Well, Kaveh, I'm going to get your help with some questions here. Absolutely. It's extremely important to connect information when we're reading and when we're picking up information in the IELTS. So it's great to hear you say, Dolly. Okay. Let's do this. So question 27, we're going to go to the questions. The goal here is you have to match the statement to the correct paragraph. So take a look at 27 when you have a chance, and then we'll talk about it and we'll figure out which paragraph it's in.
The rejection of old rules of art. The name is Polak. I think it's act as a rebellion man who actually reject all the traditional fact in a previous form. I think B, if I'm not mistaken, I'm B.
Okay, very good, Kaveh. So nice, and I like your logic. Why would you say B? So why would you immediately jump to that inference that it's B?
Let me explain to you. First paragraph, actually, introduction, actually opposing some kind of argument between classic information in classic classic painting and modern, is actually tell something opposing argument. In a paragraph B, author purposefully trying to exemplify with a rebellion artist who actually break old traditional form of previous painting or art.
Right, I agree with you. In all honesty, I don't remember if it's A, B, or C, but I would also be thinking A, B, or C, because if I'm the author and I'm writing about abstract art, I would introduce the concept first, and then I would explain what abstract art is, right? So for the reader, so that they're clear on what we're discussing here, right? That's kind of the purpose of a longer essay. Body paragraph 1 is to give definitions and backgrounds of the discussion, right? So I agree with you. I would probably guess B also. And when you're doing these types of questions, the correct way to do them is what you're doing right now, where you're like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's B. So you think about it logically, you identify it, and then you can go back and confirm, right? So paragraph B, abstract art by definition does not follow the rules of reality, right? So we can kind of see it there in the very first sentence. And now what we're doing here is purposeful skimming or purposeful scanning, right? And that is effective. So we know that the answer here is B. When you're doing purposeful scanning or skimming, it makes sense. The issue is when students do scanning and skimming without purpose or without logic. Then they end up reading the whole passage again and again, jumping all over the place, flipping pages, wasting time, getting wrong answers. So we have to be careful with that. All right, Kaveh, 28.
Different kinds of aesthetic value. I think in the middle of passage, but I'm not sure if, for example, I'm not sure D and E. I'm not pretty sure if E is correct, but I say E.
Okay.
Lies on a different perspective.
Okay, so yeah, so you're thinking, okay, somewhere in the middle, right? Because logically, if I were to write this passage, I would probably introduce these different forms or concepts of beauty and give examples for them, right? So I would say like a sunset or a symphony, or a home-cooked meal, for example, or a well-used running shoe by a professional athlete, right? So different kinds of aesthetic value. So I would do that somewhere in around the middle of this to give people an understanding that we can't just call classical or abstract art beautiful, but there's many forms of beauty, right? And so I look and I look for that kind of example or concept. And here, if you read from this Pollock, one must realize, you see me highlighting it. Can you read that one?
Yeah. Pollock. One must realize there are many kind of aesthetic merit. For example, there's the aesthetic merit in the sunset, as you told, in a beautiful sculpture, in a symphony, or even in a well-composed meal. So if aesthetic merit is represented in a manifold way, is it possible that abstract art satisfied at least one of those criteria? Many critics say yes.
All right, so now we're confirmed, right? And you thought D, E, F. Even if you think, oh, I think it's E, but it could have been D, start with D. So as long as you can reduce your skimming or scanning to 2 to 3 paragraphs, you will finish with lots of time to spare. Okay. The problem is, again, when candidates are skimming or scanning the entire passage trying to figure out where that information is, that's very wasteful for time and energy, and doesn't work. But in this way, if you can reduce it to 2-3 paragraphs. Now, when you're practicing at home, Kaveh, if you don't find the information in D, E, F, and you realize the information was in A or in G, that's a very strong signal that the student or the candidate did not understand the passage well. So then you have to kind of step back and figure out, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change in my strategy to make sure that I can understand the main points of the beginning, the middle, and the end, right?
Yes.
Okay, Kaveh, stay with me for a minute here. I'm going to get a bit more help from you. Okay.
For sure.
All right. Read number 33 for me, this multiple choice question.
To compete. Okay. Sorry. Okay. What makes abstract art different from classic art?
What do you think? What's your answer?
Okay. In an abstract art, the artist wants to provoke an overwhelming emotion from the audience, and because the audience can have a different cultural background, it is a very subjective actually art from one person to another.
Okay, not a bad answer, Kaveh. For the IELTS exam, it's far too complex. If you're in an art history class, for instance, I would say sure. But in the IELTS, think much simpler. Don't overthink like that. So if I just simplify your answer, Kaveh, I would just say abstract art is more subjective and classical is more objective, right? If I simplify your answer, right?
Yes.
That's one difference. Any other difference between classical and abstract? So subjective versus objective art. What else might be a difference?
Actually, the quality of artwork. For example, actually, in an abstract, use a style and form that is not used in a classical form. For example,
different styles and forms,
different
rules, right?
Um,
Some people might see different skill levels, like classic art takes a lot more practice and skill. Abstract art,
yes,
a 2-year-old child can kick a bucket of paint on the floor and it's abstract art, right? So you want to think about all these. All right, now that you have the answers in your head, okay, now let's look at the choices. Which one do you think is the correct answer?
Let me see, because it delay over there. Okay, it does not follow classic arts, follow pattern of logic. Illicit pleasure. I think not follow pattern of logic. Not B, does not follow classical art rules. This is a really simple choice. First one is not. I think D. I don't follow.
It elicits pleasure from the viewer.
It can be, but B is a really simple answer for this one. It does not. Yes, absolutely. It does not follow classical art rules. Yes.
Okay, B.
But
right? You're saying B.
Okay, but I see illicit pleasure from the viewer in a paragraph. I don't even.
That's the same for both, though, right? You could look at classic art, you could look at abstract art, and both of them could make you feel happy. So both can make you feel happy, but for sure, abstract art does not follow classic art rules. Right?
Yes. Certainly, yes.
So that's your best answer, right? It doesn't follow logic. It doesn't follow physics, like Dolly's clocks, for example. You can think of
Yes.
here, right? They're not following
It's
the
not
rules of
logic,
physics.
actually.
It's not
Yes.
logic. They're walking upside down, right? So B is definitely the best answer. Kaveh, you've got a really great head on your shoulders. The one danger of that, okay, the one danger of that is overthinking. So careful not to overthink. IELTS is not a university level exam. It's not a master's exam. And even in university, some of those high level exams have questions where you have to apply very simple logic and eloquent logic to figure out the answer. So be careful. So don't overthink is my tip to you, okay? All right,
For sure.
careful. Simplify, especially for the odds. Okay, Kaveh, thank you so much for that. And thank you for mentioning Dolly. I was very happy to hear you say those words, for sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Have an awesome rest of the day.
Have an awesome rest of the day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. All right. Yes, absolutely. Make those connections. Students, I've run out of time, unfortunately, but I hope that you picked up a lot of really good tips and tricks and practice strategies there. And if you didn't have a chance to volunteer, don't fret. We have classes tomorrow. We've got a listening class coming up in 30 minutes. So you will have chances to interact with me and definitely to interact with each other. I'll leave the rest of the questions to you to kind of figure out. And you can send me the answers to these questions to my email, and I will send you the answer key. Okay. Members, thank you so much for reading, for helping, and for sharing. Thank you, Carolina, for moderating. Alexi, I'm not sure if you're still here, but thank you for making your presence known. And students, again, go to the websites and check us out at aehelp.com for all of our videos, practice exams, and interactive course and apps for your phone as well. If you're in these live classes regularly and you're enjoying them, make sure to join the premium version of our course. It's absolutely worth it. The premium course you can sign up for by clicking these big red buttons. This is for the general IELTS. General IELTS reading is a little different than the academic. And for the academic IELTS, it's here. You can click that big red button there. That's just above my head, like that. Come back in half an hour, in 30 minutes. We're going to do a listening part 1 and 2. We'll use some audio and we'll use the exam again from the websites to answer those questions, and we'll talk a little bit more strategy and tips on how to maximize your scores and how to make the IELTS exam a more enjoyable experience and less stressful experience. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria, everybody, and I'm back in 30 minutes with more live IELTS. See you soon. Bye.